So Walmart has said that they're not going to eat these tariffs all by themselves. They're going to pass this off to the consumer as well. But the administration is not happy about this. So let's talk about it.
Even though many tariffs have been paused, and even with the U.S. slashing the tariffs on China, the 10% baseline tariff on most imports into the United States is still significant, and everyday Americans could soon be feeling its effects. This week, the retail giant Walmart said that it was, quote, not immune from tariffs. And as a result, America's largest retailer will start rolling out price hikes on some of its products, including bananas, avocados, and coffee products from Latin America, and toys and electronics from China. And just this morning, President Trump responded to that on social media, quote, Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything.
Hey, everybody, thanks for joining me today. So we want to talk about Walmart and these tariffs that they've been faced with because of all these trade wars that are going on. Now, Walmart, you know, one of the biggest retail giants in the nation, stores are everywhere all across the world, has decided that they're going to push back on some of these tariffs that are being imposed on them by the administration. We know that this year was the beginning of a trade war that the administration decided to initiate because they wanted to do what they thought was not being fair as far as U.S. trade was concerned. So they wanted to impose tariffs on all these other countries. Now, with that being said, now we know that some of these tariffs were over the roof. It made no sense. 145% tariff on China. Come on, man. That is over the roof. That's more like aggression or frustration, or I'm going to show you what I can do. Well, we see how that worked. That backfired. So we went on for months not knowing what was going to happen with all the tariffs and stuff. But then we come to find out that the deal now is that they're down from 145% to 30%, which is not much better. But anyway, it is what it is. So, but I want to talk today about Walmart. So Walmart, this large retail giant, billions of dollars. I want to tell you something about their profits first. So over the last, from 2010 to 2025, Walmart has made, outlandish profits in their sales and their profits over the last few years. I'm going to share with some of you. So Walmart gross profit for the quarter ending April 30, 25 was $41 billion. This was just from April until April 2025, $41 billion. Over the last 12 months, what do you think it was? $170 billion. Okay? In 2024, their gross profit was $157 billion. Now, this is a company that wants to pass all of these extra costs off over to you. I think it's greed. I think it's greed myself personally because you're making billions and billions of dollars. Now, I don't agree with all of the tariffs and all of that stuff. I get that. But I don't think the consumer should have to suffer because the administration and these major companies and these overseas companies can't get their stuff together. We as a consumer should not be the ones who have to suffer for that. And I think something needs to be done. So let's talk about tariffs real quick. What are tariffs? I'm going to read to you the definition what tariffs are. Tariffs are taxes that a government imposes on imported goods and services from other countries. They're essentially extra costs added to the They're essentially extra costs added to the price of foreign products when they enter a country. These taxes are usually calculated as a percentage of the value of the imported goods. So the purpose of tariffs are used to protect domestic industries by making imported goods more expensive, encouraging consumers to buy locally produced products instead. That's what tariffs are. So the administration feels like we're buying too many products from other countries. Well, we have to take that. We can take that way back to Clinton days when Clinton did the NAFTA, when we sent all of our manufacturing overseas. And we're just dealing with that now. So when you decide to ship things out of the house that you want to make them in, what do you expect? You don't expect it to go all that great. But I want to share with you some of the discussions that have been going on between Walmart and the administration just to see what you think about it, and then we can talk about it. So take a listen to this real quick.
Today, President Donald Trump told Walmart to, quote, eat the cost of rising tariffs so they can keep prices low for consumers. Walmart announced Thursday they would begin passing on rising costs to shoppers at the end of this month, but they didn't specify by how much. President Trump posted on social media that between Walmart and China, they should, quote, eat the tariffs and not charge customers anything.
Wow, that's interesting. So the administration created this problem, and now they want the companies here within America to eat those tariffs. Now, I'm not a fan of Walmart again, but I think we need to be more economically sound, more economically with the ability to understand economics. When you do something like this, when you affect tariffs, that there's going to be some backlash. There's going to be some things that are not going to be taken care of. People are going to have to deal with these situations when they're not prepared to deal with them. And you shouldn't expect organizations or entities or corporations just to say, okay, we're going to do it. Because, yeah, everybody wants to make a profit. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of Walmart, but I don't think that you should be imposing all these tariffs without discussing this with major corporations to see how that's going to impact them, as well as them passing those costs on to us, the consumers. So what does that look like for the consumer? Take a listen.
We are back now with today's consumer and fears that we are only just now starting to see some of the impacts of the president's tariffs.
This week, the nation's largest retailer, Walmart, announced it would be raising prices in the coming weeks because of the tariffs.
Let's bring in CNBC senior retail reporter Courtney Reagan, who spoke with Walmart's CFO on Thursday. Courtney, good to have you with us. We'll talk about the Walmart thing in just a moment, but I think folks just need a refresher right now because we've seen tariffs go up, go down, they start, they pause. Where do things stand right now?
Right now, right this very second, because this could change, of course, with a tweet or at a moment's notice. But right now, we're sort of in a cooling off period. Let's call it that. So April 2nd was the Liberation Day tariffs announced on 60 trading partners. Those have been basically put on pause for 90 days. So now we're sitting at a 10% universal tariff. With China, however, that's going to be separate. You've got the 10% universal tariff plus a 20% additional fentanyl tariff. So effectively, we have a 30% tariff on all goods coming into the country from China. That stays, we think, until about August, while the parties work through that right now. Now, also, this is on top of the tariffs that already existed from the first Trump administration and from the 1930s.
So you spoke with the CFO of Walmart,
That's right.
who said they're going to have to raise some prices on some goods. What do shoppers do right now? Like, should we be hoarding certain goods? How do people plan?
There's a lot of questions. I think a lot of retailers are also wondering, how do we plan? And so what Walmart's chief financial officer, John David Rainey, said is, look, the administration has made some progress, but it's still too high, the rates that we're looking at right now. They're going to do what they can to mitigate tariffs, to work with their trading partners, maybe change out some features of products, maybe what they're made of, so they're potentially less expensive from a cost standpoint. But they are going to have to pass along price increases to some degree, likely in the next week, maybe the week after. And what's going to be tricky is we don't know exactly which products will see prices increase. Because if you're a retailer that has a portfolio of goods, let's say you've got a signature $5 t-shirt. You don't really want to raise that to $5.65.
Yeah.
So you're going to take that 65-cent extra cost from the tariff and you're going to put it on another product somewhere else. So it makes it hard to figure out, should I be buying in advance? Because maybe the product I need or want will not actually see a price increase. So my advice is sort of what I would always say. If there's an item that you know you might need or you might want to replace, look at the price now. Does it feel right to you? I would be nervous about telling you to go out and buy a lot of things because we could see trade deals happen like that tomorrow. And then maybe you ultimately did overpay.
So here we are again. At the end of the day, who is going to be the person that's going to be most affected by these tariffs? Us, we, the people, the consumers. We're going to be the ones who get the price hikes. We're going to be the ones who get the shortage of supplies. We're going to be the ones trying to figure out how we're going to get the things that we need. When these companies have already made decisions, they're not going to even deal with it. They're going to let the shelves go empty. They're going to let the shelves go dry because they're not going to deal with these excessive costs that the administration is allowing to happen. And I can understand that from the business side. But from the consumer side, it's not fair. We're not being treated fairly. We're getting the short end of the stick, as always, when we do. And for the administration to come yell at Walmart about eat these costs and all of that, that's something they should have done before they even made the decision to do all these trade wars. That's not something you come talk about now once this is done. It's in motion. It's been in motion for the last few months. And you knew this day was coming. You knew this day was coming, and the consumer was going to be the one who had to eat these costs. And it's just tiring. It's frustrating that we have to continually deal with this type of stuff when the administration can't get their stuff together. So somebody with economic sense or economic degree background or something needs to talk to help the consumer, because we're going to be the ones hurt in the end through all these trade wars, all these tariffs, and all these different things that the administration allowed to happen. So, hey, I wanted to just stop by and share my 2 cents on this. I really don't like this. I really am frustrated about this. And I know you are too. So let's keep an eye out on what's going on with Walmart and other companies. Walmart's the first to speak out, but I'm sure there are going to be many more that are going to speak out about these tariffs. So talk to you soon.